I'm Adam Blattenberg from Diesel World.
Hi, this is Dan, owner of Dan's Diesel Performance.
I'm Christian Roth of BD Diesel.
I'm Braden Fleece, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're excited to have you guys with us today on the Diesel Podcast. Today I've got Dylan from Pure Diesel Power on, and I wanted to chat with him about some emissions-equipped parts that they offer and what guys are calling in wanting to do to their trucks, whether it's a 6.7 Power Stroke or an L5P, LML, 6.7 Cummins, and just see what's really popular right now for like a towing setup, something you daily drive, want to get a little bit more torque out of it. So look forward to chatting with him. Before I get to it though, I want to encourage you guys, if you're not on our Discord channel, you'll find a link down below. Make sure and join. We're almost at 200. We just need like 7 or 8 more people on there, which is really cool to be able to chat with you guys, learn more about your builds. There's a lot of cool questions you guys are asking about, whether you're going to lift a truck or what kind of gear oil to run, doing an engine build. So make sure you jump on, join. You can interact with us, other Diesel Podcast fans. It's a great way for us to all stay connected and be able to learn more about trucks and then ask questions. I also want to give a shout out to Worley Custom Fabrication. They're a sponsor of the podcast. We appreciate their support and we're huge fans of their products. Make sure that you follow WC Fab on Instagram, Facebook. And if you have any questions about their products, whether you have a Power Stroke, a Duramax, a Cummins, go to WCFab.com. They've got great pictures, tons of different options, whether it's something for like an intercooler piping kit, if you're 6.7 Cummins, or traction bars. There's so many products they have. So make sure and jump on, check out what they have. If you have questions, make sure and shoot them an email or give them a call. Also, if you're a shop owner out there, we know we have a lot of you guys that listen to us, and you have a customer that calls you, comes in, wants some WC Fab parts. Turn 14 is a stocking dealer. They got a ton of different options for you. If you're not set up with them, they make it really easy to get set up. You have an account manager they specialize in diesel. So the brands that you want, the questions you have, it's all right there. Plus you can order online, get your tracking, invoicing right away. They make it super simple. All right, let's get to today's podcast with Dylan from Pure Diesel Power and chatting about what they're seeing that people want to do to their emissions equipped trucks. Dylan, welcome to the Diesel Podcast and chatting with us. I've been looking forward to being able to sit down with you and talk about Pure Diesel Power and some trends and things that people are asking for with their trucks. So looking forward to chatting with you today and learning more about you guys and the upgrades people are doing out there with their trucks.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to just kind of start with Pure Diesel Power. We had Garrett on to give some tips for building a 12 valve and he had mentioned his truck, but so much has changed. Well, one, since we did that episode, but then two is the kind of trucks that people are building. It's definitely a different landscape now. So I wanted to ask you about Pure Diesel Power, the newer trucks, what you guys are working on, what people are asking for.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of L5Ps, honestly. The new Duramaxes with the 10-speed, and people are loving them, honestly. And there's endless possibilities you can do with your emissions actually intact. Yet that's kind of the market a lot of people didn't know honestly existed, is all this intact. You can intact with emissions on, you can do yet. Like we work a lot with HP tuners and Duramax tuner and Corey Willis, and you can push 170 horsepower out of a stock, emissions compliant truck with a good tune. And now Stealth has their L5P turbos and Fast has lift pumps. You can easily push 750 horsepower out of a stock emissions truck, with some aftermarket add-ons.
There's been, I think back to, say, the pre-emission days is, you could get like a tune for a truck, but you knew right away, especially if it was like a Dodge or, even in the Allisons, if you push too much through them, you're just going to right away just need a transmission. It seems like the newer trucks, they have better just standard equipment, or it handles it a bit better, where you don't necessarily have to get into a built transmission once you get an aggressive tune. Right.
Absolutely. They've definitely come a long way. Even up to like an 08, 09 Duramax, and you put it in a hot 175 tune and your transmission's going into lit mode every day. You're clearing codes left and right. And stock trans nowadays can definitely handle quite a bit more than what they could 10 years ago, for sure.
Now on the tuning side, say like if we take like an L5P, what sort of levels are available in that? Like maybe not taking it to the track or anything like that. I'm towing, need a little bit more torque, want a bit more drivability. What kind of setups do places offer to be able to find that?
Yep. So there's a lot of different things we could do. We can do trans tuning for guys that are pulling trailers every day. And we can, send in PCM, get it unlocked, and do some pretty gnarly trans tunes. As far as ECM tuning goes, you can do a single toe tune, pretty good heavy toe tune. They actually just implemented a shift on the fly with the steering wheel buttons. So a lot of guys that are towing 5 days of the week but having fun with their truck, the other 2 days, you can have all 5 settings and go and beat around on it a little bit on the weekend and still work with it every day during the week. So yeah, it's definitely come a long ways. I'm pretty excited to see what comes of it.
I wanted to spend a little bit of time on the L5P because I know a little bit, but not a whole lot, as far as when it comes to upgrades for them. So, say to run, any one of the tunes that are out there for an emissions equipped L5P, do I need to do other supporting upgrades along with it, like on the fuel side or anything like that? Or are these tunes built around maximizing like the stock truck?
Right. The ones that we sell the most of are guys that are just, normal street truck looking to tow, bulldozers, just heavy equipment left and right. So that they don't need any supporting mods. Once you start getting up there, you can throw in the stealth turbo, you can throw in the fast, and you're going to require hotter tunes than the main set we do usually hook people up with. But yeah, these ones are completely stock truck.
Yeah, they're one of the really cool things I think about them is just how much power you can get for very little as far as upgrades compared to like older trucks where you're getting into a turbo, you're getting into injectors, getting into injection pump, and then I'm getting into the transmission and then a little bit of suspension upgrades and all these other things where these trucks just have great power and torque from the factory, and then I'm just adding some electronic upgrades and I'm right there. But for people that want to take it a little farther, say they do want a turbo kit or they do want a compound kit or something like that, are you guys starting to see more manufacturers offer products above and beyond?
Absolutely. We actually have our local turbo guy, Colin Wilcott here. He used to be performance engineering. He's switching over to position 1. And he actually just has his L5P turbo going in the works as well. Everybody here, we all have fairly older trucks. We all run one of his, and we definitely like his turbos around here. And but yeah, he's got one for the L5P, and Stealth has the L5P one, and it's definitely coming along pretty nicely. Everybody's getting in the groove with newer trucks, and
it's really refreshing to see how it's expanded so much. It seems like for a long time there was just some few basic things you could do to them, but now I think Whirly Custom Fab did a L5P swap on one of their trucks, and we see transmissions there's starting to be upgrades for the 10 speeds and lift pumps, injection pumps, and it's really cool to see how far it's come from. Gosh, right at the beginning it was like, well, you get this tune, air intake, and a lift pump, and that's pretty much all you could do. But it's like the conversation around emissions equipped trucks has changed so much. It used to be always delete.
Oh, yeah, and we still get a lot of guys that are, I'm looking to push some power. I need to delete. It's like a lot of guys haven't opened their eyes to the emissions equipped market yet, and that's the biggest thing is people don't realize what you can actually get out of a emissions intact truck. It's pretty eye-opening once you actually dig into it a little bit.
One of the nice parts of it is you can just drive it anywhere, or if you want to sell the truck. I've seen that a lot where someone will message us on like Instagram or something, and they'll say, hey, I've got this, I'm looking at buying this older truck and it doesn't have all these parts on it that should have come with. What can I do? And it's like it puts the seller and the buyer in a difficult position, whereas with the parts that are available now, like you can sell it. It can go get an emissions test, 49 to 50 states, or some of them 50 to 50. So, I think that's definitely a cool part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And not only that, and now, there's a lot more companies that are getting into, the emissions compliant, they're selling aftermarket DPFs and, exhausts and such. And it's definitely, because of stock, when you're paying $5,000-$6,000, if somebody, you buy a deleted truck, you got to put a converter back on it. You're looking at $5,000-$6,000 from a dealership versus, like now GDP has some and XDP offers some, and there's the market's getting bigger and bigger for aftermarket DPFs that are still compliant. So
I know that's something that's really cool that I know people have asked about for a long time is the aftermarket DPFs. What are you guys hearing, like with the ones you just mentioned? Are they, what are some of the benefits to them besides cost? Like, are they serviceable? Are they something that I'm not sure?
A majority of them are, they're all an improvement over stock. The stock one is, stock one's good, but once you need to replace it, if you don't have one or so on and so forth, it's, I think the number one thing guys are liking is cost, but they are a little bit improved flow as well. You can get a performance DPF that's going to give you a little more flow than your stock one, but yeah, other than that, cost is the number one thing that guys are fond of on those.
Yeah, I've seen some of the prices from a dealership for a new DPF, and it's like, man, it's so expensive. It's like it's like buying a built transmission or something like that.
The prices are, the things are just going to keep getting more expensive as well too, and that's where all these guys are definitely getting surprised at what a DPF costs. It's like, that's the deleted market's kind of coming to a downfall, to be honest.
Now, with the Ford and the Ram, are you guys seeing a lot of offerings as well from companies? I know that there's added turbo kits for the Cummins and some CP3 swap kits and things that are designed where they're emissions compliant as well, or they have carb approved or carb tested, I should say, injectors and stuff. But is that market progressing about the same as the L5P?
Oh yeah, absolutely. S&S actually released like their CP4, their bypass kit, disaster prevention kit. A lot of guys are really fond of that because they don't quite want to spend the money on a CP3 swap. But yeah, S&S actually offers a really good CP3 swap that's emission compliant too, as does industrial. So it's the market's out there. I mean, there's endless possibilities nowadays.
What exactly does the CP4 bypass kit do? I've heard about it, I've seen it, but what exactly is it helping a truck owner with, or helping a fuel system with?
It's kind of like a preventative maintenance sort kind of deal. So what it's doing is it's adding a filter on it with some extra filtration. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the CP4s, but a lot of the times they'll pull the filter out on the CP4 and you'll get a lot of metal flakes on there, and basically, your number one goal is to not let any of that into your engine, or you're gonna be looking at a lot more than a CP3 swap. It's just CP4s are just kind of prone to failure right off the line. One guy can get 200,000 miles off of his, and the next guy will get 20,000 miles off of his. It's just kind of hit and miss.
Well, that's one of the things I noticed with it is I've seen some guys post and say, well, I've got 180,000 miles on my LML or something and never had an issue with CP4, and then someone else is like, and I've been through 2 of them and I had to buy a whole fuel system, and that's definitely pretty expensive to do. So it just seems like it's very inconsistent with the OEM setup, how reliable it's going to be and how expensive it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've actually had a couple here even in the shop. One guy we know, very well that he maintains everything. He's, dead on time, every oil change, fuel filter change, and transmission fluid, everything. He top of the line maintenance on his truck and had it fail in 45,000 miles. It's like, so that's kind of it's not really a algorithm behind whether the hit and miss is accurate. To one guy beats on his truck and doesn't maintain it, and he can last 200,000. One guy, he'll go and maintenance by the book every couple months, and he'll have it fail at 30,000. It's just, we haven't found out the algorithm behind it, but
yeah, it's it's something where all these trucks are going to like higher pressures, and from my understanding, that was the reason for the CP4 was just with emissions in mind and what the trucks were trying to meet and the kind of pressures it can attain, but then also some downsides with it itself. And people are just looking to make sure that their trucks are reliable, which is the reason we buy a diesel, is we want them to last a long time. We need the torque, we want the power, we're hauling stuff. or we just enjoy the driving experience. And so I think being able to put that reliability back into these newer trucks, it's just so important, which is what I think, like the older ones, that's why it appealed to me originally was, I'm like, okay, here's this gas truck, but if I go to this Cummins, it's got double the torque, and there's so many things I can do to it if I want more, and it's just a more robust design.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned, possibilities are honestly pretty endless, and you can, even with the emissions intact, you can do, add a turbo kit, you can second gen swap. We actually just the other day had a guy, he was put a second gen swap on his ambulance. He was sick of the VGT on his ambulance. He did the VGT, non-VGT turbo, and he said they went through four actuators in the last 6 months. So he said they're sick of it. And ambulance is as stock as can get. You put a good emissions compliant tow tune on an ambulance, and it's gonna go.
Oh yeah, well, the actuators aren't. I don't think they're easy to find right now, and they're definitely not inexpensive.
No, they've kind of hit a downfall in the market as well. I know 9 out of 10 times that we've looked in the past month, they've been on a pretty hefty back order. It's everything's just kind of short right now and hard to find, and it's right now we can really only hope things get better.
Yeah, it seems. I just did an episode recently, chatting with a company about that and just how it's different now, where you used to be able to just call a place and be like, oh, there's 9 in stock, when do you want it? And now you got to dig a bit farther and just try to find things. And I know, with all the different brands you guys are working with and all the customers that call, it's probably challenging, but there's opportunities there as well to be able to get them the parts they need to keep the trucks, running or get them the performance that they want. So I know there's a lot of pressure that you guys are under to, be able to just, get parts and get things to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the nice thing about having so many companies across the board that are, given all these options. If a guy calls in and wants a manifold, like just for example, manifold, we always we stand by speed 100%, and that's obviously the one we recommend. But with material shortage, it's so hard on them and they can't keep up. And, Julie does a great job over there letting us know everything. But with guys that can't wait 6 to 10 weeks, and now they're actually out 12 weeks, with the material shortage and the fires up there. BD makes one, ATS makes one, Diesel Power Source makes one. It's like, the possibilities are just endless for these newer trucks. It's
I've always loved the Steed Speed manifold. I remember seeing them, I think, right when they came out, and I saw one in person, and I'm like, this is such a beautiful manifold. It's almost a shame that you got to put the hood down on the truck. And
they make some great manifolds. That's for sure.
Now on the transmission side, are you guys seeing people with newer trucks like breaking them and saying, hey, I need something that holds more power? Is the transmission side keeping up with what the tuners and the turbo and injector companies are able to produce on these newer trucks?
Yeah, absolutely. We sell a lot of Randy's transmissions, the 68s especially, the 68 RFEs for the newer Cummins, and those guys are calling in, hey, I need, I got this, and this done in my pickup, and I need a transmission that's going to hold it, and we'll send them to Randy's 10 times out of 10 times. It's definitely keeping up over there with the technology.
I think the transmission side, I don't know why I've always been really interested in it, or it's always fascinating me. Maybe because it's like every time you start the truck and drive, you're feeling the transmission. Same thing with the turbo. It's like those are two things you're always, feeling, and just what an upgraded converter does for feel. And all those things, like you're enjoying it all the time, not just at 40 psi or 50 psi or higher. It's like it's always there.
Yeah, for sure. And that you'll get guys that just want a converter too, and we'll do a lot of work with Garand, and Garand they offer a lot of custom specs, and even not just on the older trucks, but the newer ones too. Now you can change your stall speed, and pretty much endless possibilities there too. It's crazy where the market brought us.
Oh yeah. It's a really cool time, in diesel automotive, because so much has changed so rapidly, but technology is progressing so much. We had touched on tuning. We talked about the turbo kits, but just from where things used to be, how streamlined you can keep performance and do what you want. I really look forward to the future of it and being able to see what these companies produce and the way that we're able to just keep increasing that power level. Because ultimately, there's always that segment of diesel enthusiasts where they might not tow that much. They want performance. They want to go to a dyno or go to the drag strip and have fun. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes with, I think the DPFs, the aftermarket DPFs are definitely going to help, but then the tuners and just how it all comes together. I'd love to see, an 850 horsepower or maybe one day higher sort of, emissions compliant setup,
Yeah,
So-
no, the combination of everything is just kind of insane, to be honest. And you can throw a turbo and a manifold and some injectors and CP3 swap and a good tune with a, well, obviously transmission that's final, but yeah, no, you can definitely push some pretty wicked horsepower out of some emissions compliant stuff. So.
Well, I don't want to forget about the pre 2007.5 guys, but as far as new products or new things, do you guys see some of that technology trickling back to the older ones, whether it's with tuning or whether it's with transmission options or turbo kits, or is there still innovation being had on pre 2007.5 trucks?
There is not as much as there used to be, but there definitely still is companies out there that are, definitely not forgetting about the old guys. Yeah, no, it's
The classic trucks.
I drive an 02 myself, so.
Is it a VP44?
No, I actually have a Duramax, so I got all the goodies in there, kind of a street beater. But
Nice. What have you done to that one?
that one I actually have a police pump in, some industrial, put the industrial the CP3 swap in it. So with the regulator and put some LDS injectors and lift pump, obviously built trans at that point in time on those because, the older Allisons, especially the 5-speeds, they were not really built for much more than stock. So, but yeah, I actually used some dirty hooker diesel head studs, and that's another thing that they actually came out with Cummins head studs now with ARP's material shortage. It's DHD is definitely on top of the game for sure.
I'd heard about that. That'd come up on a couple other podcasts, just with some material, issues, which is happening to a lot of places. But just head studs have been tough to find.
Yeah, no, ARP has been just on a wicked shortage. It's they can't find the material, and when they do, they can't keep up with new orders. They can't, and it's obviously not anything on ARP's end. It's just a material shortage, and it's crazy. The industry itself is just right now it's a tough time for everybody. But yeah, I definitely think DHD definitely killed the game with their Cummins studs coming out at the time they did. They're definitely had a good time.
One of the things I've been really, really happy to see and proud to see is how the diesel industry has been able to adapt to the last 18 months, which, when everything happened with the pandemic, it was like, well, what's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen with parts? Am I going to work on my truck? And am I going to buy a new truck? And just, it's been so many things out of so many different angles. It's been really cool to see, companies like Pure Diesel Power, and a lot of the brands that you mentioned be able to withstand it and change with the what's going on to be able to keep parts flowing, keep things available to be able to get. So just covering diesel, it's been really cool to watch that and see the dedication and the compassion, the drive that people have to just help people, help them get their trucks running, help them fix stuff. The racing stuff we're seeing, I've had racers on there talking about just being in the pits, and people are like, hey man, how can I help you? You need to borrow some tools and just all that kind of stuff. I think it's really brought out the best in what the diesel community has to offer. So it's been really cool to see that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a big thing. The diesel industry has definitely been brought closer together in the last even year. Over the whole COVID ordeal. Yeah, everybody's been definitely brought closer together. You got companies that are, rather than trying to compete, they're hey, right now we don't have one of these, but this guy offers a really great part, and hey, it's awesome to see. I'm sure you want the sales, but hey, it's like, right now we don't have one, but hey, I can recommend you to go here and get you fixed up and ready to go. And
Yeah, get the truck back on the road. Well, it was it was really cool to chat with you, Dylan, and learn more about what kind of emissions on stuff that is out there, what people are asking about, and just be able to help people that maybe in the market. There's a lot of people that are kind of in that stage of, should I fix my old truck or buy a new one, and they gravitate towards the new one because there's so much technology in them, so much refinement. But they're enthusiasts. They want to do stuff to them, and they think, well,
Right.
is there really a lot I can do to it? What can I make 650 horsepower? So it was cool to chat with you, learn more about you guys, and I appreciate your time today. I wanted to ask you, if someone's listening and they're like, hey, I want to do this stuff to my L5P, or I want to do it to my 6.7 Power Stroke Cummins, what's the best way for them to be able to get in contact with Pure Diesel Power and ask some questions?
Right. Yeah. So we actually have on our website, right to www.puredieselpower.com. We have a live chat feature, and we have we actually implemented a submit an inquiry, so we'll get back to you that way as well. Otherwise, you can give us a call with any questions at 715-254-1833.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time today, Dylan, and sharing knowledge with us. Tell us about your LB7, which is I've always loved those trucks. I wish when they were out I would have bought one. I really do, especially now. They're just like, they're so cool, being that first like common rail truck to hit the market, and the aftermarket's so big for them. So yeah, it was great chatting with you, and look forward to doing it again down the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't forget, Diesel fans, make sure and head on over to wcfab.com if you're looking to upgrade your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. And if you're a shop owner out there looking to offer WCFab parts, jump on to turn14.com, get set up if you're not already. They make it super easy to be able to get set up, order parts, get them to your shop, and keep your customers' trucks back on the road. Also, if you're looking for more from the podcast, more content, more ways to engage with us, we did start a Patreon, and there's going to be a link down below for that. It's as low as $3 a month, and you get exclusive episodes that we don't play anywhere else, where guests are jumping on, chatting with us, sometimes just about trucks, just talking about the passion for them, what things they'd recommend to do with a build, mistakes they made along the way doing a build, or just really cool technical information. So we want to be able to offer that to you guys. And if you're not on our Discord, make sure and jump on as well. We got a link down below. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.